I rescued an abandoned puppy. Then I discovered it's not a dog. The eyes in the crate. The plastic grocery bags bit into my wrists, a familiar ache as I fumbled for my keys, the setting sun casting long shadows across the parking lot. Another mundane Tuesday, another trip to the store. But destiny, it seemed, had different plans. That's when I saw her. Huddled in a rusty crate on the back of a beat-up pickup truck, she was a picture of abject misery. Small, frail, her fur matted and dirty, she barely registered as a living thing until I saw her eyes. Those eyes, wide and impossibly sad, pierced through me, a silent plea that resonated deep within my soul. They were the eyes of something utterly lost and alone. I lingered, drawn in by a force I couldn't explain. The driver, a man etched with the weariness of a life lived close to the land, noticed my gaze. He approached, his expression apologetic. "Found her near my farm," he explained, his voice rough but gentle. "Been killing my chickens. A real nuisance, that one." He sighed, running a calloused hand through his thinning grey hair. "Can't keep her, though. Can't just let her fend for herself, neither. Was going to take her to the vet. Maybe they can, you know." His voice trailed off, the unspoken implication hanging heavy in the air. Something inside me shifted, a deep well of compassion overflowing. Maybe it was the raw vulnerability in those mournful eyes, or maybe it was simply the universe nudging me in a new direction. Whatever it was, I knew I had to help. The words tumbled out of my mouth before I could even fully form them. "I'll take her," I blurted, my heart pounding against my ribs. He looked at me, skeptical. "You sure? She's been through a lot. Don't know anything about her background." I nodded emphatically, already digging for my wallet. "I'm sure I can give you some money for your trouble, and I promise I'll take good care of her." We haggled for a bit, standing there amidst the exhaust fumes and the wilting vegetables. He wanted to be sure I understood what I was getting into, warning me about her disruptive behavior and the uncertainty of her past. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of convincing, he relented. I watched, my heart a frantic drumbeat, as he carefully lifted the crate from the truck bed. She was even smaller than I thought, her ribs showing beneath the tangled fur. But even in her emaciated state, there was something undeniably special about her, a spark of resilience that glimmered in her amber eyes. "She's all yours," he said, accepting the crumpled bills. "Just be careful with her. She's not like other dogs I've seen." Thanking him profusely, I probably sounded a little hysterical with enthusiasm. Then the reality hit me. How on earth was I going to get her and all these groceries back to my tiny apartment? After a series of awkward maneuvers and multiple trips, I finally managed to cram everything inside. Once in the sanctuary of my cramped living room, I cautiously opened the crate. She crept out tentatively, her nose twitching, taking in her new surroundings with hesitant curiosity. I sank to the floor, moving slowly, gently, letting her come to me on her own terms. "It's okay, girl," I whispered, extending my hand. "You're safe now." She approached with a hesitant sniff, her wary gaze fixed on my every move. When she finally allowed me to touch her, my heart melted. Her fur, despite its matted and dirty condition, was surprisingly soft. She needed a bath, desperately needed food, and probably a vet visit. But in that moment, all that mattered was the connection that was forming between us, a fragile thread of trust weaving its way between two souls. "I think I'll call you Bella," I murmured, watching as her ears perked up slightly at the sound. "Do you like that name?" Looking back now, I realize how utterly naive I was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, no clue about the extraordinary adventure that was about to unfold. All I knew was that this scared, lonely creature needed help, and I was determined to give it to her. That first night, Bella curled up in the darkest corner of my living room, watching me with those intense eyes as I prepared for bed. I made her a makeshift bed with blankets and left water and food nearby, but she seemed content to keep her distance, a silent testament to the trauma she had endured. I didn't push it, understanding she needed time to heal, to trust. As I lay in bed, listening to the occasional rustling sounds from the living room, I couldn't help but smile. Sure, my apartment wasn't exactly set up for a pet, and I had absolutely no experience with dogs, let alone whatever she was, but something felt right, undeniably right. It was meant to be. Little did I know then that this simple act of kindness would completely transform my life, that this small, frightened creature would turn out to be something entirely different from what I expected, that she would challenge everything I thought I knew about responsibility, love, and dedication. But looking back now, I wouldn't change a single thing about that day, because that was the day I found Bella. Or maybe, just maybe, that was the day Bella found me. Bella's secret. The first few weeks with Bella were a kaleidoscope of adjustments and discoveries, a whirlwind of laughter and frustration, punctuated by moments of pure, unadulterated joy. My tiny apartment became our shared sanctuary, a testament to the fact that love can bloom even in the most cramped of spaces. Every morning I'd wake up to find her curled up at the foot of my bed, her tail thumping softly against the mattress in her sleep. She had this adorable, albeit destructive, habit of borrowing my hats and hoodies, dragging them to her favorite corner, and creating a cozy nest out of them. I'd often find my favorite beanie buried under a pile of blankets, covered in fur but somehow still perfectly intact. A small price to pay for the unconditional affection she offered. Our daily walks became adventures, each excursion a new opportunity for her to explore, and for me to marvel at her burgeoning personality. Bella was surprisingly well behaved on the leash, trotting beside me with a grace that made other dog owners envious. That is, until we encountered another dog. Then, all bets were off. She'd explode into a flurry of excited energy, bouncing around like a puppy on a sugar rush, pulling at the leash and emitting these high-pitched, excited yips that echoed through the neighborhood. I always had to brace myself, planting my feet firmly on the ground to avoid being dragged along behind her, a laughing spectacle for all to see. But as the weeks morphed into months, I started noticing something peculiar. Bella wasn't just growing, she was growing exponentially. Her paws, which had been cute little puppy feet, were now massive, the size of my spread hand. Her head reached my hip when she stood beside me, and her appetite was becoming legendary, a bottomless pit that devoured everything I put in front of her. I started getting concerned looks from my neighbors, sideways glances that spoke volumes. Even the local dog park regulars, usually a welcoming bunch, began keeping their distance, their friendly overtures replaced with worried whispers and hesitant smiles. They were worried about her unusualness. Driven by a nagging unease and the increasing pressure from well-meaning but concerned onlookers, I scheduled an appointment with Dr. Thompson, our local vet, a man whose calm demeanor and gentle hands had soothed countless anxious pet owners. I remember sitting in that sterile examination room, the scent of antiseptic hanging heavy in the air, watching him measure and examine Bella with increasingly furrowed brows. He poked and prodded, his face growing more serious with each passing moment. Finally, he looked up at me, his expression grave, and my stomach plummeted. "Ashley," he said, clearing his throat, "I need to tell you something important. Bella isn't a dog." The words hung in the air, heavy and incomprehensible. I stared at him, uncomprehending. "What do you mean?" I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. He took a deep breath, his gaze unwavering. "She's a Canadian black wolf." The world seemed to tilt on its axis, the sterile rooms spinning around me. A wolf? I had been raising a wolf in my tiny apartment, blissfully ignorant while she devoured my furniture and charmed the neighborhood. My mind raced back to all those ill-fated trips to the dog park, all those awkward encounters with unsuspecting chihuahuas and bewildered golden retrievers. Dr. Thompson explained, his voice gentle but firm, that she must have been abandoned as a pup near that farm where the truck driver had found her, left to fend for herself in a world she was never meant to navigate. But the news got worse, each revelation a fresh blow to my already reeling senses. He explained that because Bella had been raised by humans from such a young age, she couldn't survive in the wild. She was too domesticated, too reliant on human interaction. But legally, I couldn't keep her in my apartment either. The regulations were clear, unforgiving. He had no choice but to report this to the Wildlife Authority. I sat there in stunned silence, stroking Bella's thick, surprisingly coarse fur while she nuzzled my hand, completely oblivious to the bombshell that had just been dropped. Looking into those amber eyes, the same eyes that had captivated me from the very beginning, the eyes that I had grown to love so fiercely, I couldn't imagine giving her up. She wasn't just some wild animal to me. She was family, a part of my soul, an integral piece of my very being. The drive home that day was shrouded in a heavy silence, broken only by Bella's contented sighs from the back seat. I kept glancing at her in the rearview mirror, seeing her in a completely new light, a wild creature masquerading as a domesticated pet. Now I understood why she was so different from other dogs, why her howls sounded so haunting and beautiful, why she moved with such untamed grace. That night, as we sat together on my small balcony, watching the distant city lights twinkle in the darkness, I made a promise, a vow etched in the depths of my heart. "We'll figure this out, girl," I whispered, scratching behind her ears. "I won't let them take you away." But deep down, a chilling fear gnawed at me. I knew our comfortable routine was about to shatter, that the peaceful sanctuary we had created was on the verge of collapse. We were standing on the precipice of something much bigger than I could have ever imagined, a battle that would test the limits of my courage and the strength of my love. The real challenge wasn't just discovering that Bella was a wolf, it was fighting to keep her, to give her the life she deserved while navigating the treacherous waters of legality and public perception. As I watched her doze off that evening, her massive form sprawled across my living room floor, I realized that this was just the beginning of our story, a story that would be written in tears and triumphs, in heartbreak and hope, but ultimately in the unwavering bond between a woman and her wolf. The thought of losing her was unbearable, a gaping hole in my soul that threatened to swallow me whole. But looking at her peaceful face, I knew I had to try. Whatever it took, I would find a way to keep my wolf dog, my Bella, my best friend, a sanctuary of hope. The day Carol from Wildlife Services arrived at my apartment, my heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. She was a tall woman, her face framed by kind eyes, but a stern expression settled upon her features, the weight of her responsibility etched into every line. Clipboard in hand, she surveyed Bella's living situation, her gaze sweeping over the cramped quarters, the makeshift bed, the telltale signs of a wolf trying to adapt to a world that wasn't hers. I held my breath, watching as she took notes, her pen scratching against the paper with an ominous sound. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating, broken only by Bella's soft whimpers sensing the tension in the air. "Ashley," she said finally, her voice gentle but firm, a delicate balance of compassion and authority. "I can see how much you love Bella, and it's clear she's bonded with you deeply. But keeping a wolf in an urban apartment is not just against regulations, it's potentially dangerous for her and for the people around you." I nodded, fighting back tears that threatened to spill over. The words felt like a punch to the gut, each syllable a confirmation of my worst fears. "I understand," I choked out, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I can't just abandon her. She's family now." Carol's expression softened slightly, a flicker of empathy in her eyes. "There might be a way," she said, flipping through her papers, her fingers tracing the lines of bureaucratic jargon. "If you're willing to make some significant changes, we could work something out. Maybe." She explained that I needed to move to a more suitable location, a place where Bella could roam freely and safely. And then there was the matter of the animal rescue expert license, a daunting list of requirements that seemed impossibly out of reach. A specially designed enclosure, proper fencing to contain a creature of the wild, enrichment activities to stimulate her mind and body, and detailed care protocols that would require years of experience to master. The list seemed endless, each item a hurdle taller than the last, and my head was spinning, the weight of it all threatening to crush me. "How long do I have?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "Legally, I should take her now," Carol admitted, her gaze filled with a genuine regret. "But I'm giving you 3 months. 3 months to find appropriate land, start the process of obtaining the necessary permits, and demonstrate a commitment to providing her with a suitable environment. After that, we'll need to see substantial progress." That night, I sat on my couch, surrounded by a chaotic mess of real estate listings, permit applications, and veterinary handbooks. Bella lay her head in my lap, her golden eyes looking up at me with unwavering trust, a silent promise that she believed in me even when I doubted myself. I scratched behind her ears, the familiar sensation a small comfort in a sea of uncertainty, remembering how tiny she'd been in that crate on the back of the pickup truck, how vulnerable and scared she had looked. "We'll figure this out, girl," I promised, my voice thick with emotion, though I had no idea how. The next few weeks were a blur of frenetic activity, a whirlwind of sacrifices and unwavering determination. I sold my apartment, liquidated my savings, and poured every last penny into a small piece of land about an hour outside the city. It wasn't much, just 5 acres of overgrown weeds and tangled trees with an old, dilapidated mobile home that had seen better days. But it was all I could afford, a small sliver of hope in a landscape of despair. The property had good bones with natural barriers that could be incorporated into the enclosure, and enough space for Bella to run, to rediscover the wild instincts that had been dormant for so long. But when Carol came to inspect the property, her face told me everything before she even spoke a word. The hope that had flickered within me dwindled, replaced by the familiar sting of disappointment. "The fencing isn't adequate," she explained, her gaze sweeping over the perimeter, pointing out gaps and weak spots that I had desperately tried to ignore. "The shelter needs proper drainage, and we'll need to see detailed plans for enrichment features, showing that you understand her specific needs as a wolf." I tried to explain that I'd spent everything I had, that I was doing the best I could with the limited resources available to me, but regulations were regulations, and Carol's hands were tied. She gave me a deadline, 6 weeks to bring everything up to code, or Bella would have to go to a wildlife sanctuary, a place where she would be safe and cared for, but also a place where I might never see her again. That evening, I sat on the rickety steps of my new home, the setting sun painting the sky in vibrant shades of orange and pink. Bella explored her larger territory, her movements tentative, as if she sensed the weight of my despair. The beauty of the sunset, which usually brought me solace, was lost on me, overshadowed by the crushing weight of potentially losing her. Tears streamed down my face, hot and relentless as I faced the devastating reality of my situation. In a misguided attempt to protect myself from the inevitable heartbreak, I started spending less time with Bella, trying to prepare myself for the worst. When she'd come to nuzzle me, seeking comfort and affection, or bring me her favorite toy, still my old college hoodie, I'd turn away, my heart breaking with every step I took away from her. It was killing me inside, and I could see the confusion in her eyes, the subtle shift in her demeanor, but I foolishly thought it would be easier this way, a preemptive strike against the pain that was sure to come. Then one particularly rough day, fueled by desperation and a longing for connection, I broke down and shared everything online, pouring out my heart in a raw and vulnerable post. I told the story of Bella, of her rescue and her true identity, of the struggles with the daunting regulations, and of my overwhelming fear of losing her. I didn't expect much, maybe some sympathetic comments or a few words of advice. But what happened next was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of human connection and the enduring spirit of compassion. People started sharing my post, their voices amplifying my plea for help. Then more people shared it, and more, until it became a viral sensation, a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. Soon, local news picked up the story, and my inbox flooded with messages from people wanting to help, offering anything they could to support our cause. Contractors offered discounted services, farmers donated spare fencing materials, veterinarians provided free consultations, and a local wolf sanctuary reached out to provide guidance on enrichment features, their expertise invaluable. Even my neighbors, whom I barely knew, showed up with tools and determination, their hands eager to help build a better life for Bella. A construction company offered to help with the drainage system at cost, a gesture of kindness that brought tears to my eyes. Carol continued her inspections, but now, instead of just pointing out problems, she was offering suggestions. Her demeanor transformed from stern authority to invested collaborator. She seemed genuinely invested in our success, providing tips and resources I hadn't even known existed. "You've got quite a community behind you," she remarked during one visit, watching as volunteers helped install new fencing, their faces glowing with purpose. This is what responsible wildlife care looks like, people coming together to do things right. The work was hard, the hours were long, and there were setbacks along the way. But with every improvement, every step forward, I could see a better Bella, thriving in her new environment. She had space to run, places to explore, proper shelter to protect her from the elements, and most importantly, she still had me, and I had her. The relief that washed over me the day Carol finally handed me my official wildlife rescue license was overwhelming, a tidal wave of joy that swept away the years of struggle and doubt. The community that had rallied around us held a small celebration that evening, Bella as the guest of honor in her newly completed habitat. Watching her explore every corner of her new space, marking her territory with newfound confidence, and testing out the spring-fed pond with joyful abandon, made all the struggle worthwhile, a testament to the transformative power of love and compassion. The story could have ended there, a happy ending to a harrowing tale, but it was really just the beginning, the genesis of a new chapter in both our lives. My experience with Bella had opened my eyes to the countless animals in need of help, creatures who had been abandoned, neglected, or simply misunderstood. With the support of our ever-growing online community, I started designing t-shirts and merchandise featuring Bella's story, using the proceeds to improve our sanctuary and expand our reach. People loved buying items that helped support our cause, knowing that their purchase was making a difference in the lives of animals who had nowhere else to turn. Then came the call about the wild boars, 3 of them, found abandoned after a failed exotic pet situation. No one knew what to do with them, no one had the resources or the expertise to care for them. But with my new license and the unwavering support of our online community, I was able to create a separate enclosure for them, a haven where they could roam freely and live out their lives in peace. Bella watched with curious eyes as her new neighbors settled in, her howls echoing through the valley as if welcoming them to our growing family. Running a sanctuary isn't easy. Every day brings new challenges, from maintaining the enclosures to ensuring everyone gets proper veterinary care. But there's also immeasurable joy in watching these animals thrive, in witnessing their resilience and their unwavering spirit. Bella has grown into a magnificent wolf, confident and strong, her eyes filled with a wild intelligence and a deep sense of contentment. Yet she still maintains that special bond we formed when she was just a pup in a crate, her affection a constant reminder of the journey we've taken together. Sometimes, late in the evening, I sit on my porch and watch as Bella patrols her territory, her movements fluid and graceful, every inch the wild creature she was born to be. Yet when she catches my eye, there's still that spark of recognition, that undeniable connection that transcends species and circumstance, a silent acknowledgement of the love that binds us together. Our social media following continues to grow, and with it, our ability to help more animals, to spread our message of compassion and conservation. I've started educational programs teaching people about wildlife conservation and the importance of respecting wild animals in their natural habitats. Bella has become an ambassador of sorts, helping people understand why wild animals belong in the wild, even as she demonstrates the extraordinary bonds that can form between humans and animals when respect and understanding are at the heart of the relationship. Looking back, I never imagined that stopping to help a trapped wolf pup would lead me here to this life of purpose and fulfillment, surrounded by the love of animals and the unwavering support of a global community. But love, as I've learned, has a way of changing our paths, of pushing us to become more than we ever thought we could be, of transforming our lives in ways we could never have predicted. Thanks to Bella, I'm not just the girl who rescued a wolf. I'm someone who's making a difference in the lives of animals who need help, who's advocating for a world where humans and animals can coexist in harmony. And Bella, she's living her best life, as wild as she can be, while still being a cherished part of my family. Her presence a constant reminder of the transformative power of love and the unwavering spirit of hope. Every day she reminds me that sometimes the craziest decisions we make turn out to be the best ones of our lives, leading us down paths we never could have imagined and enriching our souls in ways we could never have predicted. The wild within. The outpouring of support that followed our online plea was nothing short of a miracle. It was as if a collective heart had opened, flooding our little corner of the world with compassion and a fierce determination to help. From anonymous donations that arrived in the dead of night to the tangible offerings of skilled laborers and concerned neighbors, the sheer volume of generosity was breathtaking. The initial sting of shame and self-doubt, the fear that I was utterly incapable of handling this immense responsibility, began to dissipate, replaced by a quiet resolve. This wasn't just about building an enclosure, it was about honoring a commitment, about proving that love and dedication could conquer even the most daunting obstacles. I threw myself into the work with a renewed fervor, fueled by the unwavering belief that we could actually pull this off. Long days turned into even longer nights, my hands raw and blistered from wrestling with wire fencing and lugging heavy lumber. Every ache and pain was a testament to my devotion, a physical manifestation of my love for Bella. Carol, the wildlife inspector, became an unexpected ally. Initially a figure of authority bound by regulations and protocol, she seemed to be genuinely moved by the community's efforts. She offered guidance and support, helping me navigate the labyrinthine bureaucracy and connecting me with resources I never knew existed. It was as if the overwhelming compassion had softened her resolve, reminding her of the very reason she had dedicated her life to protecting wildlife. As the enclosure began to take shape, I noticed a profound shift within Bella. The anxiety and uncertainty that had clouded her amber eyes began to fade, replaced by a sense of peace and contentment. She would watch the construction from her temporary space, her tail thumping rhythmically against the ground, as if she understood that these strangers were working to create a safe haven for her, a place where she could finally be herself. I, too, felt a transformation taking place deep within my soul. The meek, unassuming girl who had impulsively rescued a puppy from the back of a truck was slowly shedding her skin, emerging as a strong, capable woman, a fierce advocate for the voiceless. The fear that had once paralyzed me was replaced by a quiet confidence, a knowing that I was capable of facing whatever challenges lay ahead. We passed the final inspection with flying colors. Carol, her eyes glistening with pride, handed me the official wildlife rescue license, a tangible symbol of our collective achievement. The celebration that followed was a joyous explosion of gratitude and camaraderie. We were a motley crew, brought together by a shared love for a creature most people would fear, united by a common goal. That night, as I watched Bella explore her new home, her movements fluid and graceful, I realized that this wasn't just about rescuing a wolf, it was about rescuing myself. Bella had awakened something within me, a primal connection to the wild, a recognition of the innate strength and resilience that lay dormant within us all. The sanctuary became more than just a safe haven for Bella and other rescued animals. It became a testament to the transformative power of compassion. We started offering educational programs, teaching people about the importance of wildlife conservation and the delicate balance of ecosystems. Bella became an ambassador for her species, her presence breaking down stereotypes and fostering understanding. Years passed, and the sanctuary flourished. We rescued countless animals, each with their own unique story of hardship and resilience. But Bella remained the heart of it all, her presence a constant reminder of the journey we had taken together. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching Bella patrol her territory, I realized that the most profound rescue wasn't the one I had orchestrated on that fateful Tuesday. It was the rescue that Bella had performed on me. She had pulled me out of my mundane existence, forced me to confront my fears, and shown me the extraordinary power of love and connection. The wild within, the untamed spirit that had been dormant for so long, had been awakened by the wolf I had dared to embrace, and that, I realized, was the greatest gift of all. Thanks to Bella, I wasn't just living a life. I was living a life of purpose, a life of meaning, a life that was as wild and untamed as the creature who had rescued me. Every morning when I gaze into those amber eyes, I am reminded of what she showed me about life, my place in it, and about how sometimes the rescue goes both ways. Beyond the rescue, a life entwined. The celebration marking the successful completion of Bella's enclosure felt less like an ending and more like a grand opening, the start of a new chapter filled with promise and, if I'm being honest, a healthy dose of apprehension. The license was in my hand, the fencing was secure, and Bella seemed content in her sprawling new habitat. But the real work, I knew, was just beginning. Responsibility, I discovered, wasn't a singular act. It was a constant evolving dance, a delicate balancing act between meeting Bella's primal needs and navigating the ever-changing landscape of regulations and expectations. It wasn't enough to simply provide her with food and shelter. I had to understand her, to learn her language, to anticipate her needs, to ensure that she thrived, not just survived. The sanctuary quickly became my life. My days were consumed by the endless tasks that came with caring for a wild animal, preparing specialized diets, cleaning and maintaining the enclosure, monitoring her health, and constantly researching ways to enrich her environment. There were moments, I confess, when I felt utterly overwhelmed, when the weight of the responsibility threatened to crush me. But then I'd look into Bella's eyes and the exhaustion would melt away, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. Our bond deepened over time, transcending the simple act of rescue. I learned to read her subtle cues, the flick of an ear, the twitch of her tail, the way she held her head. She, in turn, seemed to understand my moods, offering a comforting nuzzle when I was feeling down, a playful nip when I needed a dose of levity. The sanctuary wasn't just about Bella, though. It became a refuge for other animals in need, creatures who had been abandoned, neglected, or simply misunderstood. Each new arrival brought its own set of challenges and rewards, forcing me to expand my knowledge and refine my skills. I learned about the unique needs of wild boars, the intricate social dynamics of foxes, the delicate rehabilitation of injured birds. The sanctuary became a living, breathing ecosystem, a testament to the interconnectedness of all living things. The initial surge of public attention eventually waned, as is the nature of viral sensations. But the core community of supporters remained steadfast, their dedication unwavering. They were more than just donors, they were partners, invested in the long-term success of the sanctuary. They volunteered their time, offered their expertise, and provided a constant stream of encouragement. I also had to learn to navigate the complex world of wildlife conservation, to become an advocate for responsible animal ownership and the preservation of natural habitats. I started giving presentations at local schools, sharing Bella's story and educating children about the importance of respecting wild animals and their place in the world. There were setbacks, of course, a devastating storm that damaged the enclosure, a sudden illness that threatened Bella's life, a bureaucratic battle over funding. But through it all we persevered, our resilience fueled by the unwavering belief that what we were doing was making a difference. Years passed, and Bella aged gracefully, her wild spirit undimmed. The playful energy of her youth mellowed into a quiet dignity, her amber eyes reflecting a wisdom that only time and experience can bestow. One crisp autumn evening, as I sat beside Bella's enclosure watching her gaze out at the star-studded sky, I realized that our journey was far from over. It was a continuous cycle of learning, growing, and evolving, a constant reminder of the profound responsibility that came with sharing our lives with a creature of the wild. The rescue was just the beginning. The real story lay in the years that followed, in the ongoing commitment to providing Bella with a life worthy of her spirit, and in the unwavering dedication to making the world a better place for all creatures, great and small. Our lives were entwined, and with her, a reminder that love and caring can change the world, one animal, one person at a time. The gift of wildness. The official rescue license, crisp and new in my trembling hand, felt like both a victory and a heavy burden. The cheers of the volunteers faded into the background as a quiet understanding settled over me. The enclosure was built, the regulations met, but this wasn't the end. It was a threshold, and beyond it lay a lifetime of commitment, responsibility, woven into the very fabric of my being. I watched Bella explore her new habitat, her powerful limbs eating up the space, her senses alert, taking in every scent, every sound. She was home in a way, but the wild still called to her, a primal song that resonated deep within her soul. The sanctuary became my world, a demanding mistress that consumed my days and haunted my nights. I learned to anticipate Bella's every need, to understand the subtle nuances of her behavior, to provide her with the stimulation and enrichment she craved. But as I immersed myself in her care, a disquieting thought began to surface. Was I truly giving her what she needed, or was I simply imposing my own human desires upon her? Was I keeping her safe, or was I keeping her caged? The question gnawed at me, a persistent discomfort that refused to be ignored. I pored over books on wolf behavior, consulted with experts, and spent countless hours simply observing Bella, trying to understand her perspective. Slowly, I began to realize that true compassion wasn't about control. It was about allowing Bella to be who she was, a creature of the wild, even within the confines of the sanctuary. It was about creating an environment that honored her instincts, that allowed her to express her natural behaviors, that gave her the space to be truly free. This meant letting go of my own preconceived notions about what a good life looked like for her. It meant accepting that she might never fully bond with me in the way a domesticated animal would. It meant embracing the wildness that defined her, even if it meant keeping a respectful distance. I started making changes to the enclosure, creating more naturalistic environments, introducing new challenges and stimuli, and allowing her more autonomy in her daily routines. I worked to minimize my interference, becoming less of a caretaker and more of a facilitator, a guardian of her wildness. The transformation in Bella was remarkable. She became more confident, more independent, more fully herself. The anxiety that had clouded her eyes began to dissipate, replaced by a quiet sense of purpose. She moved with a newfound grace and power, her howls echoing through the valley with a joyful exuberance. The sanctuary continued to grow, welcoming other animals in need, each one a testament to the interconnectedness of life. But Bella remained the heart of it all, a symbol of the wild within us all, a reminder that true freedom comes not from control, but from acceptance. One day, a team of wildlife biologists approached me with a proposition: to release Bella back into the wild. They had identified a suitable habitat, a remote wilderness area where she could potentially thrive, and they believed that her unique background, raised by humans but still possessing her wild instincts, might give her a better chance of survival than other captive-born wolves. The thought of letting her go filled me with a profound sadness, a gaping emptiness that threatened to swallow me whole. But I knew, deep down, that it was the right thing to do. It was the ultimate act of love, the final step in honoring her wildness. The release was bittersweet. I watched as Bella disappeared into the forest, her powerful strides carrying her away from me, towards a future I could only imagine. A tear trickled down my cheek, a mixture of sadness and joy, of loss and liberation. The sanctuary continued to operate, a testament to Bella's legacy. But I was different now, forever changed by the experience of loving and letting go. I understood that true compassion wasn't about possession, it was about empowering others to live their lives to the fullest, even if that meant setting them free. The gift Bella had given me wasn't just the opportunity to rescue a wolf, it was the gift of wildness, the knowledge that true freedom lies not in control, but in embracing the untamed spirit that resides within us all. That's a gift that I would try to give to everyone that comes my way. More than just a sanctuary, a family, forged in wildness. The day the wildlife rescue license arrived felt less like a finish line and more like a starting gun. It was a validation, yes, a bureaucratic seal of approval on everything we had accomplished. But it also signaled a new level of commitment, a deeper dive into a world of responsibility that I was only beginning to understand. The initial euphoria of the victory faded, replaced by the day-to-day realities of running a sanctuary, the endless cleaning, the specialized diets, the constant vigilance required to ensure the safety and well-being of every creature under my care. There were moments when I questioned my sanity, when the sheer volume of work threatened to overwhelm me. But then I'd see Bella, her amber eyes shining with contentment, and I'd remember why I had embarked on this improbable journey in the first place. The sanctuary wasn't just a place for rescued animals, it was becoming my home, my community, my family. The volunteers, initially strangers who had answered a call for help, became close friends, their lives interwoven with mine in a tapestry of shared purpose and unwavering support. We laughed together, we cried together, we celebrated each other's triumphs and comforted each other during times of adversity. They were the family I never knew I needed, bound not by blood but by a shared love for animals and a commitment to making a difference in the world. And then there were the animals themselves, each one a unique individual with its own distinct personality and story. The grumpy old badger who had been injured in a road accident, the playful fox cubs who had been orphaned when their mother was trapped, the majestic bald eagle who had been poisoned by lead ammunition. They were all broken in some way, but they were also resilient, their spirits undimmed by the hardships they had endured. I learned to see beyond their physical scars, to recognize the beauty and dignity that lay beneath. I learned to listen to their silent language, to understand their unspoken needs, to provide them with the comfort and care they deserved. Bella, of course, remained the heart of the sanctuary, her presence a constant reminder of the transformative power of compassion. As she aged, her wildness mellowed, but her spirit remained unbroken. She became a wise elder, a respected matriarch, her amber eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that transcended language. One day, a young girl named Lily came to visit the sanctuary. She was shy and withdrawn, her eyes filled with a sadness that mirrored Bella's own when I had first found her, huddled in that crate. Lily had been bullied at school, ostracized by her peers, and she felt lost and alone. I introduced her to Bella, and as the girl tentatively reached out to touch the wolf's thick fur, a spark ignited between them. Lily began to volunteer at the sanctuary, spending hours with Bella, learning about her history and sharing her own struggles. Slowly, she began to blossom, her confidence growing with each passing day. Lily found solace in Bella's unwavering presence, a silent understanding that transcended words. She discovered that she wasn't alone, that there was a place where she belonged, a family that accepted her for who she was. As I watched Lily and Bella together, I realized that the sanctuary wasn't just about rescuing animals, it was about rescuing people too. It was about creating a space where everyone felt safe, valued, and loved. It was about building a community where differences were celebrated and where compassion was the guiding principle. It wasn't the life I had planned, this journey into the wild, this unexpected family forged in the heart of a sanctuary. But as I sat on the porch watching Bella and Lily together, I knew that I was exactly where I was meant to be. I was home, surrounded by the love and companionship of creatures both wild and tame, bound together by a shared commitment to making the world a better place, one rescued life at a time. More than just a sanctuary, it was a family and a world of peace that it was born out of it. Let's aim for a conclusion that is both realistic and hopeful, acknowledging the cyclical nature of rescue and the ever-present need for compassion. The unending circle. The license to operate the wildlife sanctuary, framed now and hanging on the wall of my small office, is more than a certificate. It's a constant reminder of the pact I made, not just with Bella, but with every creature who would find their way through its gates. It's a tangible representation of a promise kept, and a commitment that stretches into an unknowable future. The fairy tale ending, the idea that we could fix everything and live happily ever after, dissolved long ago, replaced by the gritty reality of rescue work. There are always more animals in need, more challenges to overcome, more bureaucratic hurdles to navigate. The cycle of rescue is, by its very nature, unending. Bella, having reached a venerable age for a wolf, now spends her days in quiet contemplation, her once powerful body moving with a slower, more deliberate grace. She is no longer the rambunctious pup I rescued from the back of that truck, but her amber eyes still hold that same spark of intelligence, that same unwavering connection to the wild. The sanctuary has evolved too. We've expanded our facilities, added new enclosures, and developed innovative programs to promote wildlife conservation and responsible pet ownership. We've become a resource for the community, a place where people can learn about the importance of respecting animals and protecting their habitats. But the core mission remains the same: to provide a safe haven for animals in need, to rehabilitate them whenever possible, and to give them the opportunity to live their lives with dignity and respect. The work is hard, often heartbreaking, but it is also deeply rewarding. There is a profound satisfaction in seeing a wounded animal heal, in witnessing a frightened creature learn to trust, in knowing that you are making a difference in the world, however small. We've also learned that rescue isn't always about finding a forever home. Sometimes, the most compassionate thing you can do is to prepare an animal for release back into the wild, to give them the skills and confidence they need to survive on their own. It's a difficult decision, one that is always made with careful consideration and expert guidance, but it's a testament to our commitment to prioritizing the animal's well-being above our own desires. The circle of rescue, I've come to understand, is not a linear path with a defined beginning and end. It's a continuous loop, a constant flow of compassion, responsibility, and hope. There will always be animals in need, and there will always be people willing to answer the call, to offer their time, their resources, and their hearts. And so the sanctuary continues, a beacon of hope in a world that often seems indifferent to the suffering of animals. We celebrate our successes, mourn our losses, and keep moving forward, driven by the unwavering belief that every life matters. And it all began with Bella, that small, frightened creature in the crate, whose eyes held a plea that changed the course of my life forever. She is still the heart of it all. Looking out at the sanctuary, I am more than just the woman who rescued a wolf. I am a part of something larger, an unending circle of compassion and caring. And that connection, forged in a parking lot under the setting sun, will be the anchor of my life. A symphony of howls, the legacy of Bella. The setting sun paints the sky in hues of apricot and rose, casting long shadows across the sanctuary as I sit on the porch, a worn wooden swing creaking gently beneath me. Bella, her muzzle now dusted with silver, lies beside me, her breathing slow and even. Her once powerful frame is showing its age, but her amber eyes still hold that familiar spark of intelligence and a deep, unwavering connection to me. The official wildlife rescue license, now slightly faded from years of sunlight, hangs on the wall of my small office, a silent testament to the incredible journey we've undertaken together. It's more than just a piece of paper. It's a symbol of resilience, community, and the transformative power of compassion. Running the sanctuary has been the most challenging and rewarding experience of my life. There have been moments of profound joy, witnessing a wounded animal heal, a frightened creature learn to trust, and a lost soul find its place. But there have also been moments of heartbreak, grief, and utter exhaustion, when the weight of responsibility threatened to crush me. But through it all, the community has sustained me. The volunteers, the donors, the experts who have shared their knowledge and expertise, they have been my lifeline, my constant source of strength and inspiration. They are the unsung heroes of this story, the people who have made the sanctuary a reality. And now a new generation is stepping up to take the reins. Lily, the shy young girl who found solace in Bella's presence, is now a confident and capable young woman, studying veterinary medicine and preparing to take over the daily operations of the sanctuary. She has a natural gift for working with animals, a deep understanding of their needs, and a passion for wildlife conservation that rivals my own. Other young people have followed in her footsteps, drawn to the sanctuary by Bella's story and inspired to make a difference in the world. They are the future of this movement, the torchbearers who will carry on the legacy of compassion and care. As I watch Lily tending to a newly rescued fox kit, her movements gentle and assured, I feel a sense of peace wash over me. The sanctuary is in good hands, its future secure. Bella stirs beside me, lifting her head slightly, her ears perked as she listens to the distant howls of the other wolves in the enclosure. It's a haunting melody, a symphony of the wild, a reminder of the untamed spirit that resides within us all. The legacy of Bella is not just about rescuing animals, it's about inspiring others to act, to embrace their own capacity for compassion, and to create a more just and sustainable world for all living things. It's about building a community where differences are celebrated, where empathy is valued, and where the voices of the voiceless are amplified. The sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the sanctuary. I reach down and scratch behind Bella's ears, her fur soft and warm beneath my fingers. She leans into my touch, her amber eyes filled with a quiet gratitude. The journey has been long and arduous, but it has also been the most rewarding experience of my life. And it all began with a small, frightened creature in a crate whose eyes held a plea that changed everything. That simple act of kindness set in motion a chain of events that have rippled through the community, inspiring countless others to embrace their own capacity for compassion. And so the symphony of howls continues, a testament to the enduring power of love, the unwavering spirit of hope, and the enduring legacy of Bella, the wolf who taught me that true family isn't defined by blood, but by the bonds of compassion that unite us all. My heart has never felt so whole. Amber eyes echoing lessons. Years have etched themselves onto the wooden frame of the photograph, a faded image showing a younger me, brimming with naive enthusiasm, cradling a tiny, bewildered Bella. The wildlife rescue license secured beside it is now more yellowed than white, bearing witness to countless sunrises and storms weathered at the sanctuary. The swing on the porch creaks with a familiar rhythm, a constant metronome marking the passage of time. The setting sun, a daily spectacle of fiery oranges and soft lavenders, casts long dancing shadows across the land Bella and I fought so hard to protect. But Bella isn't here, not in the physical sense. Her absence is a quiet ache, a gentle tug on the heartstrings that reminds me of the profound emptiness she left behind. Her passing was peaceful, a gentle surrender in her sleep, surrounded by the sounds of the sanctuary she helped create. The other wolves howled that night, a mournful lament that echoed through the valley, carrying their grief to the heavens. I felt a profound sense of loss, a gaping hole in my soul, but also a deep sense of gratitude for the years we had shared, for the lessons she had taught me, and for the indelible mark she had left on the world. It was Lily, now a fully qualified veterinarian, who stayed by Bella's side until the end, her gentle hands offering comfort and her compassionate heart radiating love. It was Lily who helped me through the grief, reminding me of Bella's strength, her resilience, and the countless lives she had touched. The sanctuary felt empty without Bella's presence. Her familiar routines, her quiet observations, her wise amber eyes, they were all gone, leaving a void that seemed impossible to fill. I found myself wandering through the enclosures, lost in memories, questioning whether I could continue without her. But then I saw them, a new litter of wolf pups, born just weeks before Bella's passing, their tiny bodies wriggling with life, their eyes sparkling with curiosity. Lily had been working tirelessly to care for them, nurturing them, and preparing them for a life in the wild. As I watched Lily interact with the pups, her movements mirroring the same gentleness and patience I had shown Bella years ago, I realized that Bella's legacy lived on, not just in the sanctuary, but in the hearts of those she had inspired. Lily was now the teacher, passing on the lessons she had learned from Bella to a new generation of wolves, ensuring that their wild spirit would continue to thrive. And it wasn't just the wolves. Other young people inspired by Bella's story have come to the sanctuary, eager to learn, to contribute, to make a difference. They are a diverse group with different backgrounds and different skills, but they share a common passion for animals and a deep commitment to protecting the planet. I've become a mentor, guiding them, sharing my knowledge and empowering them to take on leadership roles. I've learned to embrace vulnerability, to admit my mistakes, and to ask for help when I need it. I've discovered that true strength lies not in knowing everything, but in being willing to learn from others. The sanctuary is still a demanding mistress, but it is also a source of profound joy. There are moments of heartbreak, of course, but they are balanced by moments of incredible triumph, of witnessing the resilience of the human spirit and the unwavering power of compassion. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting its golden light over the sanctuary, I hear a new symphony of howls rising from the enclosures. It's a different melody than the one Bella conducted for so many years, but it's equally beautiful, equally powerful. It's a testament to the enduring legacy of Amber Eyes, to the lessons learned and passed on, and to the interconnectedness of life that binds us all together. It's a legacy of understanding, of compassion, and the strength to go on. The teachings will be forever. The amber thread, a song of souls. The wind whispers through the tall pines surrounding the sanctuary, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and the distant echo of a coyote's howl. The license, now practically transparent with age, hangs askew on the wall, a tangible representation of a life lived in service to something greater than myself. But the truest testament lies not in the framed document, but in the vibrant ecosystem that has blossomed around it, a testament to Bella's enduring spirit. I sit on the porch, the weathered wood worn smooth by countless sunsets and silent contemplations. The swing creaks a mournful tune, a song of loss and remembrance as I trace the patterns on a smooth, amber stone clutched in my hand. It's a piece of Bella, carried away, not forgotten. Since her passing, the sanctuary has undergone a subtle but profound transformation. There's a different energy here, a sense of peace that permeates the air, as if Bella's spirit has infused itself into the very soil, nourishing the land and guiding the creatures who dwell within it. Lily, my protégée and now the heart and soul of the sanctuary, possesses a unique gift. She claims to hear Bella's voice, not in literal words, but in intuitive nudges, in a deep understanding of the needs of the animals, in a heightened awareness of the subtle rhythms of the natural world. I used to dismiss it as fanciful, a product of grief and intense devotion. Now I'm not so sure. There's something undeniably mystical about her connection to the animals, a sense that she is attuned to a frequency that I can only glimpse. The new litter of wolf pups, born shortly after Bella's passing, are thriving under Lily's care. But there's something extraordinary about one of them, a small female with eyes that are the exact same shade of amber as Bella's. She's unusually intelligent, unusually intuitive, and possesses a deep, unwavering connection to Lily. The other wolves defer to her, recognizing a leadership quality that belies her youth. It's almost as if Bella has returned. I know it sounds absurd, a sentimental flight of fancy, but as I watch this young wolf interact with Lily, their connection palpable, their souls seemingly intertwined, I can't help but wonder if there's more to life than what we can see and touch and measure. Perhaps the soul is not confined to the physical body. Perhaps it can transcend death, finding new expression in different forms. Perhaps Bella's spirit has found its way back to the sanctuary, reborn in this new generation of wolves, continuing to guide us, to teach us, to remind us of the importance of compassion and connection. The indigenous elders who visit the sanctuary, drawn by the mystical energy that permeates the land, speak of animal spirits as guides and teachers, messengers from the other world. They believe that Bella's presence is a blessing, a sign that we are on the right path, that we are honoring the sacredness of life. Lily has embraced this perspective, incorporating indigenous wisdom into the sanctuary's practices. We conduct ceremonies to honor the animal spirits, to express our gratitude for their guidance and to seek their blessings. The sanctuary has become more than just a refuge for animals. It has become a sacred space, a place where the veil between the worlds is thin, where the souls of the living and the dead can connect, and where the cycle of life, death, and rebirth is celebrated. As the setting sun paints the sky in a symphony of colors, I close my eyes, feeling the warmth of the amber stone in my hand. I hear the distant howl of the wolves, a song of souls, a reminder that love transcends time and space, that connection endures beyond death, and that the amber thread that binds us all together will never be broken. The world moves on, but Bella's and my world remains. Cracked fences, unbroken bonds, a work in progress. The frame around the faded wildlife rescue license is cracked, a silent testament to the years of storms, both literal and metaphorical, that the sanctuary has weathered. I've never bothered to replace it. The crack seems fitting somehow, a reminder that perfection is an illusion, and that true beauty often lies in the imperfections, in the stories etched onto the surface of things that have endured. The swing set on the porch continues its familiar creak, a soothing lullaby accompanying the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of the wild. The scent of pine needles and damp earth fills the air, a comforting aroma that has become synonymous with home. But this isn't the sanitized, picture-perfect home one sees in magazines. This is a working sanctuary, a place where mud is a constant companion, where fences are always in need of repair, and where the line between civilization and wilderness blurs with each passing day. Bella, bless her wild soul, would have approved. She was never one for pristine environments anyway. Her preference was always for the muddiest puddle, the thickest tangle of brush, the place where she could truly be herself, untamed and free. Her memory permeates every corner of the sanctuary, her lessons echoing in my thoughts, her spirit guiding my actions. I still catch myself wondering what she would do in certain situations, how she would react to a new arrival, how she would handle a particularly challenging animal. Lily, my capable and compassionate successor, is now fully in charge of the day-to-day operations. She's a natural leader, radiating a quiet strength and unwavering dedication that inspires everyone around her. but she also knows her limits, and she's not afraid to ask for help when she needs it. That's one of the most important lessons I've learned over the years, that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to admit that you don't have all the answers, that it's okay to rely on others for support. We are all works in progress, constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly striving to be better versions of ourselves. The sanctuary continues to face challenges, of course. Funding is always tight, resources are always stretched, and there are always more animals in need than we can possibly accommodate. But we've learned to be resourceful, to be creative, to make the most of what we have. We've also become more active in advocating for wildlife protection. We lobby for stronger environmental regulations, we educate the public about the dangers of habitat loss and poaching, and we work to promote responsible pet ownership. We understand that rescue is only part of the solution. The real work lies in preventing animals from ending up in need in the first place. I still spend my days at the sanctuary, mentoring Lily and the other volunteers, sharing my knowledge and experience and providing whatever support I can. I'm no longer the one calling all the shots, but I'm still an integral part of the team, a valuable resource, and a constant source of inspiration. As the setting sun paints the sky in a riot of colors, I watch a group of young volunteers working to repair a section of damaged fencing, their laughter echoing through the air. The fence is old, patched, and imperfect, but it's strong enough to keep the animals safe, and that's all that matters. The circle of rescue is unending, a continuous cycle of effort and care, punctuated by moments of joy and sorrow. We may never be able to solve all the problems, we may never be able to save all the animals, but we can make a difference, one life at a time. This is not where our journey ends, but where the next person's begins, and we make their journey easier for the gift Bella showed us. Let's aim for a poignant ending highlighting the theme of gratitude, the cyclical nature of life, and the peace found in fulfilling a life's purpose. A woven tapestry, the heart's echo. The fading light filters through the stained glass window above my desk, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the faded photograph of Bella, her amber eyes seeming to glint with mischief, even in the still image. Beside it, the wildlife rescue license, its edges frayed and softened with age, whispers tales of countless battles fought and victories won. The license and the picture have watched the birth and end of so many animals, myself included. I sit on the porch, the familiar creak of the swing a comforting rhythm in the symphony of the sanctuary. The evening air is thick with the scent of wildflowers and the distant hoot of an owl, a lullaby that has soothed me through countless nights. The sun sinks below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of rose and lavender, a masterpiece that nature creates anew each day. My hands, gnarled and weathered from years of tending to the earth and caring for its creatures, tremble slightly as I reach for my journal. The words come slowly now, but the stories they tell are as vivid as ever. Bella's legacy lives on not just in the sanctuary that bears her name, but in the hearts of the countless individuals she touched. Her story has inspired people from all walks of life to embrace their own capacity for compassion, to advocate for the voiceless, and to make a difference in the world. Lily, my dear Lily, is now the guiding force of the sanctuary. She has blossomed into a remarkable leader, radiating a strength and grace that belies her youth. She has a deep understanding of the animals, a profound respect for the natural world, and an unwavering commitment to our mission. I'm not sure what the world would be without her. But more than just a caretaker, she's the teacher now. Children from nearby schools come to learn, volunteering and helping, just as Lily had once come as a child. She understands Bella's legacy better than myself and shows a new generation that passion. It is with gratitude, truly, that I understand the life I've led was one fulfilling a purpose. It was never a straight path, of course, and fraught with so many problems. But in the end, what's more important? The younger generations are also showing great potential. We've got many of the old volunteer teams still working here. We're more a family than a community at this point. As I sit here listening to the sounds of the sanctuary, I feel a profound sense of peace. My body is weary, my strength is waning, but my heart is full. I have lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, a life that has been enriched by the love and companionship of countless creatures, both wild and tame. The time is drawing near for me to join Bella on the other side. I'm not afraid. I welcome the embrace of the unknown, knowing that my spirit will remain here, woven into the very fabric of the sanctuary, a silent guardian, a watchful protector. It's the least I can do. It's all Bella has ever wanted. As the first stars begin to twinkle in the twilight sky, I close my journal, my heart overflowing with gratitude. The cycle of life continues, the seasons change, and the tapestry of existence unfolds, each thread intertwined, each strand adding to the beauty and complexity of the whole. My thread will soon be done, but the tapestry will remain, a testament to the power of love, the enduring spirit of hope, and the unforgettable legacy of Bella, the wolf who showed me the way. Echoes in the wildwood, the keeper's peace. The moon hangs heavy in the inky sky, its silvery light painting the sanctuary in shades of grey and shadow. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of wood smoke from the cabin's chimney and the earthy fragrance of fallen leaves. The license, now brittle with age, is stored away with other precious memories. I have found the real license to be in the actions of love, care, and empathy that I can continue to take. I sit on the porch, wrapped in a thick wool blanket, the swing a gentle rhythm accompanying the symphony of nocturnal sounds. The wind whispers through the trees, carrying with it the distant hoot of an owl, the rustling of unseen creatures in the undergrowth, and the occasional mournful howl of a wolf, a language that has become as familiar to me as my own. The sanctuary is quiet tonight, the animals slumbering peacefully in their enclosures. Lily is asleep in the cabin, her dreams filled, I hope, with visions of thriving ecosystems and rescued souls. I am alone with my thoughts, reflecting on the long and winding road that has brought me to this place, to this moment of profound peace. The weight of responsibility, which once felt like a crushing burden, has transformed into something lighter, something more akin to a gentle embrace. I no longer feel the need to control everything, to fix everything, to save every animal in need. I have learned to accept the limitations of my own abilities, to recognize that there will always be more suffering in the world than I can possibly alleviate. Instead, I focus on what I can do, on the small acts of kindness and compassion that make a difference in the lives of the animals under my care. I have become a guardian, a protector, a facilitator, creating a safe and nurturing environment where they can heal, thrive, and express their true natures. And they, in turn, have taught me so much about vulnerability and strength, about resilience and forgiveness, about the profound interconnectedness of all living things. They have shown me that love can transcend species, that trust can be earned even after the most unimaginable betrayals, and that the bond between humans and animals can be a source of healing and transformation. Bella, though no longer physically present, remains my constant companion, her spirit woven into the very fabric of my being. I feel her presence in the rustle of leaves, in the warmth of the sun on my face, in the knowing look in the eyes of a newly rescued animal. She taught me how to be strong, she taught me how to be patient, and above all, she taught me how to love unconditionally. I am no longer the rescuer. I am the keeper, the guardian, the protector of this sacred space. My journey began with a desperate act of compassion, but it has evolved into a lifelong commitment, a calling that resonates deep within my soul. The moon climbs higher in the sky, bathing the sanctuary in its ethereal glow. I close my eyes, breathing in the scent of the wildwood, feeling the pulse of life that surrounds me. The animals are counting on me, and I do what I can to not let them down. We are here to stay, and that all that will ever truly matter. Okay, this final ending focuses on the enduring power of stories, the passing down of wisdom, and the acceptance of mortality as part of the beautiful tapestry of life. The Whispering Fence, a legacy etched in moonlight. The porch swing sways gently, a familiar cradle rocking me back and forth in the hushed twilight. The air smells of wood smoke and damp earth, a scent so deeply ingrained in my being it feels like a part of my soul. Above me, the star-dusted sky stretches endlessly, a vast canvas dotted with the stories of ages long past. I don't do so well in the bright light anymore, but I love to watch the night sky. The wildlife rescue license, carefully preserved, rests in a wooden box, no longer needed for legal validation, but cherished as a symbol of a promise kept. It's a relic of a younger, more impetuous me, a reminder of the day my life irrevocably changed, all because of a pair of amber eyes. Years have passed since Bella's gentle departure. Her physical presence has faded, but her story, her spirit, has only grown stronger, weaving its way into the very fabric of the sanctuary. It's etched into the grain of the weathered fencing, whispered on the wind through the ancient pines, and reflected in the shining eyes of every rescued creature who finds solace within these walls. Lily, bless her heart, has become more than a successor. She's a daughter of the wild. She carries Bella's torch with grace and wisdom, her touch gentle yet firm, her heart overflowing with compassion. She understands the delicate balance between intervention and observation, knowing when to step in and when to let nature take its course. She will surpass my work in no time. I find myself drawn to the Whispering Fence, the perimeter that separates the sanctuary from the surrounding wilderness. It's more than just a barrier. It's a living testament to the dedication and hard work of countless volunteers, each nail hammered, each post set with intention and love. Running my fingers along the rough-hewn wood, I can almost hear their voices, their laughter echoing through the years. I can see their faces etched with determination and kindness, united by a common purpose. The animals, too, leave their mark on the fence, their scents mingling with the wood, their scratches and gnaw marks telling silent stories of survival and resilience. It's a history etched in moonlight, a tangible record of the sanctuary's journey. I've come to realize that the true legacy isn't about bricks and mortar, or even about the number of animals rescued. It's about the stories we tell, the lessons we impart, and the values we pass on to the next generation. Lily, who reads to me these days, and to the rescued animals, has taken up the mantle. She'll recite to them in a calm and assured voice, her passion overflowing with compassion. Each visit is something I look forward to greatly. I understand that my own story is drawing to a close. My body is weary, my spirit is ready, and I yearn to join Bella in the great beyond, to run free in the endless meadows of the afterlife. As the sun sets, painting the sky in fiery hues, I watch the wolves gather near the fence, their howls echoing through the valley. It's a haunting melody, a symphony of the wild, a farewell song for a life well lived. I feel not fear, but great peace. I'm more than prepared to do so. I was just so fortunate to have made friends, a world, and so much more with animals. Life may not be what you had planned, but as long as you are content, then you can rest easy.